Santo, they're teasing new elite specs, man. Did you see them?
I did. They're giving me my bar, dude.
Dude, this
I've been
is
on my
crazy.
knees begging
You don't
for
know
it.
that. You don't know that.
You're right.
We
I don't know
nothing.
that, but I hope for it.
I heard that you have some secret insider knowledge. Is that true?
I may or may not.
You may? Well, can I maybe ask you a few questions about the teasers then?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about this this one to begin with here. It's sort of this swirl. What do you think this is for?
Well, they're obvious. It has to be new specs, right? The
Yeah.
only one that makes sense to me, if I'm like connecting the dots and everything in my head, this has to be something for like Elementalist. If I take a wild guess, and what do I think it could be? I think, see, if Weaver wasn't a thing already, I would assume this logo was for a Weaver thing, but Weaver's a thing. So
Yeah.
I almost think it might be. It looks like a black hole to me. They might be dabbling in like something with like cosmic magic or something. I could be way off though. But I think that'd be cool to see. Well, what about you?
You know what? To me, it reminds me so much of the art direction in Secrets of the Obscure with the wizards, because so many of them had sort of like an orb of energy with sort of these wisps of light and magic that would kind of circle it. And it just reminds me of that so much. So I wonder if there's going to be some sort of a wizard tie-in that sort of like, for instance, okay, Spellbreaker was heavily influenced by, you know, the Alonian warriors, right, from Path of Fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just wondering if this is going to be some sort of a tie-in for Elementalists, like the Secrets of the Obscure type thing. So I don't know, maybe some like Mersat-based Ellie spec or something along those lines, like Mersat Ancient Magic. I think that could be really interesting. So,
Well, what does their magic look like again?
I'm not. I'd have a hard time describing specifically the Mersat magic, but I know, like the wizards in Secrets of the Obscure, like it's orbs with sort of these wisps of light and energy around it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That would be cool. It probably makes more sense than the cosmic thing. Mine's a little bit like, you know, what's the best thing I could hope for? That would be cool. But the Mersat thing or the Sodto wizard thing makes a lot more sense. Lore-wise, I think.
That would be my very best guess,
Yeah.
because I imagine that they would tie in some way to some of the expansions, not necessarily the one that's upcoming. It could be even, you know, one of the older ones that they skipped elite specs for. So I don't know. That's my best guess.
Yeah. It makes me think too, since it's like a swirling thing, the little class utility could be almost like close to like engineer gyro things, but for elementalists, they can like swirl elements around them, you know? It's like
I see what you're saying,
Yeah.
but they kind of have that with the hammer on.
Yeah, like the Hammer
like-
3 and stuff, but maybe
Yeah.
more like a bigger scale thing. That's the only thing I can think of that comes to mind, at least.
Could be.
Yeah. What about you?
Should we
You
move
have
on to
any-
the next one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. Next, we have this helmet with sort of wings.
Yeah.
What is this? What does this say to you?
The wings say Valkyrie to me. Now, in my head, the Valkyrie thing makes most sense for me to go on Guardian. Guardians are like paladins and like, you know, the angelic whole, you know, aura and holy thing. This screams like Valkyrie Guardian to me. I don't know what it would do at all. Maybe lean into like an angel type thing. That's what's going through my head. What about you?
So for me, the wings seem so specific and so direct. It has to be a nod in some way. Though it doesn't seem like they added those wings to the helmet just to look cool. It to me, it seems so direct. It feels like it's going to be a core part of this class, and so that makes me think that it's something to do, like when you think of a Valkyrie, you think of a you know, sort of a knight or a warrior that's very mobile, like flying around the battlefield and that kind of thing. Like, so to me, I feel like we're going to see some sort of a heavy armored class with a lot of mobility coming in. And, you know, the power of deduction here, Rev already has a lot of mobility. Guardian got its mobile elite spec with Willbender. I don't see how they could possibly give it more mobility. You know, what's sort of the slowest, least mobile class that could use a boost in its mobility? To me, that's Warrior. And to me, I feel like we're going to see a high mobility Warrior to kind of fill that roamer spec. Like, Bladesworn is so slow, and it's not very fun to play because of it. Spellbreaker doesn't really have any caked in or baked in mobility. You only get it through your weapons, and Berserker's the same way. So that's really my best guess. Is I think it's going to be that.
You're leaning more into like the. I'm trying to think of a way to word it. Like what is missing from the specs and what they'd be adding. I'm just kind of leaning into my gut feeling based off the logo.
Yeah.
But I think it could go either way. This one, we could also just be totally wrong.
But I think you'd have to consider what the gap is that's remaining in the spec, right? Like they have to fill some sort of a niche that's not already filled, and that's kind of that's exactly where my mind goes. Like, what is this missing? What could we actually add?
We're also coming at this from a mostly PvP point of view too. I feel like we have to factor in the three other game modes. Yeah, PvE, World v World, and then dungeons and stuff. So
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the mobile Valkyrie thing is a good thought too. My gut still tells me Guardian, because Guardians have that more holy thing. So we'll wait to see what that is.
I don't think that.
Go ahead.
I don't think that Guardians are necessarily holy in this game, though.
No?
You know what I mean? Like, I know what you mean, but I don't think that there's necessarily like a holy or angelic. Like, angels aren't really a thing. Like, there's kind of Dwayna. But like her thing is more water than like light magic. Like light magic exists, right? But it's not holy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is probably the World of Warcraft and the D&D side of me that's coming in, because for me Guardian fills that paladin role. It's the only thing that kind of squeezes into that archetype. So, but maybe I should stop trying to shoehorn it in and just accept it for what it is.
I mean, it's an interesting thought.
I'm
not sure what angle they would come in to the Guardian class with that from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But,
I can't wait till we're both totally wrong and this is like a rev spec. Like, I mean, it's like, no, you idiots.
Yeah. Well, we can look back and we can laugh at ourselves.
My apology video. All right, you want to move on to the next one, which is my most anticipated.
Yeah, I think this is obvious. I think everybody knows that this is going to be. So I'll put the icon on the screen here. Everybody knows this is going to be Guitarmancer, brand new Necro spec.
Oh my god!
You know, all about.
I'd quit the game. I'd quit the game.
Playing sweet guitar riffs and sweet solos to res. You know, people from the okay, come on, it's gonna be some sort of bard or minstrel, right? For most likely Mesmer, right?
I think so. I think everyone that knows me knows from the start I've longed for a bard type thing, and everyone's like virtuoso. It's like, no, it just says Blade Song, doesn't mean it's a bard type thing. I love bards, so this got me the most amped when I saw it. I was really worried when I first saw it. I was like, oh, I bet this is some novelty thing. Like, you can play music with your friends now and form a band. But then they put the other two out, so I was like, oh, this is Specs. I'm getting my bard somehow. And I hope it's on Mesmer. I've talked to someone, they're like, I think Thief should be bard, you know, more so. And I disagree, but I see where they're coming from. But Mesmer makes the most sense to me. In my head, I see a Mesmer summoning projections of instruments and doing really cool stuff with them, you know, like sending out notes or banging on a drum and like sending out waves of damage or something.
But how would that interact with the clones system? Any thoughts on that? Because the sort of sticking point with Core, Mesmer, Chrono, and Mirage was that the clones were really annoying because, you know, in open world PvE, you have to spawn them to do any burst, and then they, you know, you kill the thing that you're fighting, and then all your clones go away, and you're like constantly just, you know, tripping over yourself with these clones. And that's where Virtuoso came in and made it so that the clones were blades and they're a resource that you get to keep, and they're not dependent on what you're fighting. They're only dependent on you. So it's like, maybe, I don't know, maybe you stock like notes that you can play, and then like the different.
That's where my head just went right now. Yeah. It almost went like you could stock them, and depending on maybe how many you stock up, like let's say, you know, you could stock up 3 notes. Like if you have, like if you spend 1 note versus 3, they do different things. So maybe you have to manage your notes or whatever more.
Yeah. That's
I think
the one place that I don't see how this whole Bard thing is going to fit into the Mesmer class.
Yeah.
Like, how is that going to interact with the clone system? I don't know. It doesn't really jive in my brain. But I mean, ArenaNet's always good at surprising us. They can always cook something interesting up that, you know, nobody thought of in the past. So
like Spectre on Thief.
yeah, exactly. For sure.
I'm very excited for the Bard, and I hope they don't disappoint me.
I think they won't, and you know what? I think that everybody is most excited for the Bard so far, and that's probably why they put it first. Because how can you not be excited for that? It's just the coolest spec.
100%, yeah. And they'll probably give, if they goes to Mesmer, they have to give a Warhorn, right? Unless they're doing something crazy and putting new weapons in too. But I don't see the new weapons.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It's the only one that makes sense to me. Like, so it's the closest thing to a musical instrument, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point. You make an excellent point.
Yeah. Oh,
cool. Well, anything that you'd like to add here at the end?
I have my speculations on what I think would be cool for the other classes, but I could go on and on about that. I'll probably do that just in a video where I'm rambling. I think touching on the core 3 right here is good. I'm excited to see what else they're throwing out. My brother had an interesting thought. He was like, what if they don't put out more of these logos to tease it, and it's like 3 new professions?
Ooh.
Yeah, that would be that's a stretch, but
yeah,
you know, I thought like there's definitely things they could do, like the Elementalist, the assumed Elementalist logo, right? It'd be cool if they just did like a straight wizard, sort of, since that's kind of where you think it's leaning into, like the Mersat and like the Sodto wizards. If they did someone that was just like runes and arcane stuff, and if a Bard was its own class, and then I really don't know the heavy thing. That's probably the one I'm least invested in because I don't play a lot of heavy classes.
Yeah, I can tell by the way you're dressed.
Yeah, I'm a light armor guy, dude.
Yeah, I think expecting there to be 3 new classes would be a big stretch for a couple different reasons. The big one being, like, if they launch a new class, it will probably launch with like 1 elite spec, and then everybody else is going to have 3 or 4. So it's like that class is already severely behind, and it's like, what do they do to catch it up? Do they want to catch it up, or do they just like drop 4 elites? But it's just really messy, right? So to me, it seems, I feel like this is a pretty clear signal that it's going to be new elite specs and not new classes. But
yeah,
I could be proven wrong.
Yeah, all that logic is keeping me grounded, but like there's still the little sliver of hope. I'm like, whoa, what if, you know? But I know 99.9% it's not gonna happen.
What amount of teasers is the amount of teasers where you're going to be like, okay, they're not adding, is it 6 new classes? You don't think they're going to add 6 new classes?
No, if they put out a 4th teaser, I'll know, because I'll be like, like 4 is, they've got a nice, like, you know, 3-3-3 thing going on. They were going to add more. It makes sense to add 1 to each armor class. So yeah, I'm excited to see the other logos they post. I'm waiting on my toes every day on, you know, social media to see them. I send them to you right away. Yeah, this is the most excited I've been for Guild Wars in a couple months.
Hell yeah.
New stuff.
Love to hear it.
And my bard.
I'm looking forward to some full trailers, like the ones for End of Dragons that they dropped.
For the specs and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, when they had the new Elite specs coming out, they did trailers for every single one.
Yeah.
They went so hard, and they were so cool, and I'm really looking forward to these new ones coming up.
This is I mean... Go ahead, sorry, I was interrupting.
Like, hypothetically, right, they could have been cooking these up since End of Dragons. Like, they
yeah,
you know, just because they weren't putting them out doesn't mean they weren't thinking about it and weren't working on these. So, like, these could have had, like, a lot of time in the oven and could be, like, really well-baked and really thought out, potentially. So, like, it could be really big for these. So, looking forward to them.
Nothing came with Sodto, right? Nothing came with Santo except the spear, which ruined so much. Yeah. So they could have been baking these up since OD came out.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
If I'm a dev, I'm trying to put more stuff like that into the game too, and not just a weapon. But I'm also a player, so like I yearn for new stuff, and I'm probably don't have the faintest idea of how hard it is to implement all that stuff.
You're never satisfied.
No, I'm not.
Do you have any idea how many hours we spend in Autodesk modeling Coomer skins for you? How many bikinis do you need, Santo?
Oh my gosh. I'll be satisfied when John Homage gets ArenaNet Partner. Woo! Give him partner.
You can't segue my Coomer skins joke into a partner application. Listen, ArenaNet artists, I sympathize with you, okay? I don't want you working 60-hour weeks. I want you to see your family.
If you mess up this bard spec, you're gonna be working 60-hour weeks to fix it and give me what I want. Please. Give me, if I have like one ability that does something cool, I'll be satisfied. I'll be like, yep, this is cool. It could do no damage, but I'll ride it. I'll ride that high forever. It'll be the new main.
The new main coming in.
Yeah.
Excited for you, man.
Yeah, I had one. I'm gonna try not to go off on a crazy tangent because you know, me and my brother were brainstorming like, man, what could the other specs be? Because we're just running with the idea that these three go to the classes that we're assuming, and we came up with a bunch of ideas for like the other ones. Like, yeah, that could work. That like it makes sense. Engineer was the only one I could not think of, just because they're loaded. They have everything. I was like, what if they made like a demolition engineer? But they've got 3 explosive kits. They got a flamethrower kit. They have an elixir kit and stuff. So I'm like, I don't know where they could take engineer. So I'm excited to see how creative they get with it, because Hollowsmith I think was super creative.
Yeah, Hollow's the best NG spec.
So I'm like, man, I don't know what they could do with it.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I'm assuming you're excited to see a Rev spec.
I am, and I think that I know what it's going to be. I think that it's going to be healing / support focused.
Is that not Renegade?
No, Renegade is not.
Oh.
Alliance was a good crack at it, but it was kind of split down the middle. And yeah, I think most likely, because you got to think about what is the class missing. It's not missing Connie damage. It's not missing power damage. It's not, missing boons. What is it really missing is a proper support spec, and I think that would be probably the hole that would be filled.
Yeah.
But who knows? I could be wrong. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe some sort of movement spec. I don't know.
I thought kind of similar to that with Thief, because I don't think Thief has like, I might be showing my noobishness here. I don't think Thief has any really good duelist things. Like they're good roamers and stuff, and like good at ganking. But I would love to see like a swashbuckler Thief spec, something cool, and they give it like torch. You know what I mean? Something that's meant to just kind of hold its own, like with a sword and something.
A tanky, condition-focused kind of.
Yeah, something like that. I think that'd be sweet. It's the only like other pseudo thief type thing that I could think of that they haven't done. And then my brother was like, well, you know, Spectre came out of left field, and that's not really a thief thing, so they could be doing something even crazier.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they could cook something up crazy like that. Like they could give Shroud to any class. They could do a Mechanist and give a Pet to any class. They could, I don't know. But that would be a mistake, ArenaNet. Don't do that. No more pets.
True.
Ever. Keep it on Ranger and delete Mech, and then we'll be good.
Yeah. I wonder what they do for Necro. I had an idea for Necro where it was like, I'll keep this one short. It was like, I feel like Necro doesn't do a lot of Necro things in here, which Necro's like supposed to be like ghosts and spirits and, you know, raising the dead. I know they have their summons, but that's kind of not like integral to the class, PvP wise. It'd be cool if they did like a, for lack of a better word, like a Spectre or Phantom thing. Oh no, I thought of, they should make Banshee, like Banshee Necromancer. And you like, your thing is like you're a wailing spirit. I think that would be the way to go.
I feel like this idea is not very fleshed out.
I mean, no, I was just like spitballing with him earlier, and I was trying to think of like what's something like cool that's kind of like spirit or ghosty, and Banshee was like the coolest thing I could think of. Yeah, so I'm excited to see what they do.
I think Necro could definitely do some sort of like a proper Death Knight. Maybe give it an offhand shield. That kind of thing.
Yeah, Death Knight. Yeah, because Necro need to be even tankier, right?
No, I don't think that's the case at all, but I think that would be an easy sort of hole to fill thematically. Not necessarily balance-wise, but thematically wise it would be. So, yeah. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Wait and see. Well, do you think... What class do you think is in dire need of like... Or like in the most need of like a banger class to come, or a spec to come out with this? If you had to choose one that was certified, like this is an awesome spec.
Which of the 9 classes do we really need a banger spec for? Which of the 9 classes is like the most down bad right now?
Yeah. Who do you think needs it the most?
Let me think for a second. You know what? Actually, no, I don't need to think about it. It's Warrior. It is Warrior, because Bladesworn is cool, but doesn't really work with Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
And they won't give Spellbreaker Alacrity, so that one's kind of screwed. And I don't really like Berserker.
Yeah.
So yeah, we need something on Warrior, man. Like Warrior does one thing, and it needs to be able to branch out. It doesn't really support that well. It doesn't have a roamer spec. It doesn't really have a team fight spec. All it can do is be a duelist.
Oh my gosh, people are starting the fireworks early.
Oh.
Not even the fourth. It's not even the fourth.
It doesn't even feel that duelist spec all that well, I'm afraid. So yeah, I'd say probably Warrior.
Yeah, that one's fair. That's a fair one. I think I'm inclined to agree with you then, because I didn't really have an answer when I asked that question, but you've convinced me.
I tried.
Yeah. Do you have any last thoughts? Anything?
No, I think we've covered everything. I'm just really looking forward to seeing what ArenaNet's cooked up and spent so much time on, and I'm hopeful that we get some cool specs, and I'm really excited for some trailers to start dropping, and maybe we make this a recurring thing. Maybe we double back and discuss these new upcoming specs again. What do you think?
Yeah, I think maybe like after they release, and then our thoughts on it. I'm all like, you know, I'd also be down to throw out another version before they release, like the day before, when all 9 of the things have been reviewed, and we can kind of organize a little bit more and have a more accurate, like draw more accurate conclusions on what's what. Yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah, all right.
Cool.
This has been the Santo and Homage podcast.
Oh, yes, it has been.
Yes,
Thank you so much for having me, Santo. You're a gentleman, a scholar, and a real cutie, you know that?
Thanks, pal.
You're a little purple hat.
You're a cutie patootie toot, that war pig on your chest.
It goes hard, man. Come on. You can't even lie.
It does with the shoulders. I need to get some guild armor. So, all right. Well, thanks everyone for watching our little fireside chat.
If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button. Santo is down bad and he needs subscribers.
True and real.
So go check him out if you aren't subscribed to him. If this ends up on my channel, I'll link it down in the description. If this ends up on his channel, then you've already found it. Congratulations.
Yep, and I'll be linking homages. He's 5 subs away. If he hasn't hit 5K by the time this is uploaded, go help him out.
True.
That's in order.
Okay, Santo, thanks so much. We'll catch you again next time.
All right, Meech. Bye.
Bye, Toodles. Kiss.